And I turned around and I turned on the fire alarm, continuous, locked it into position. Smoke was filling up that wheelhouse so fast that I could see immediately that this may be a little more serious than what I had anticipated. Now my port raft's gone. The survival suits that I had in the Jacob's ladder box, it's completely engulfed in flames, and now the flames are probably 40 feet up on all sides, and we have another explosion. I'm screaming, do you have everybody? Do you have everybody? Raul, do you have everybody? Yes, Dave. Yes, Dave. Yes, Dave. And he's getting further and further, and finally goes inside and he zips the door down and closes it. And they're gone. And I looked right into his eyes, and I remember to this day as I'm looking at you, he said, Captain, are we going to die today? And I said, yes, we're going to die.
All right, guys, I want you to pay close attention. First of all, we're going to go through some drills today, and I want to share with you the reason that I have a passion for this is because of what took place on the Galaxy in 2002, and we ended up having a fire on board that rapidly got out of control. And some of the things that we've learned through that experience I want to share with you, and in the process of this today, we're going to do a fire on board drill, and we're going to go and follow right through with the abandoned ship. What I want to share with you is this. If you've never experienced a fire before on board a vessel, and I don't mean a little trash fire, I don't mean having to deal with a galley fire or something like that, a grease fire. I'm talking about a full-on, full-blown fire to where you have absolutely just minutes to deal with that situation, or you're going to lose control, and when you lose control of your vessel, you've lost your vessel and you're going to lose lives.
The day that it took place, the day that it happened, was a Sunday. Fishing was typical. We had 50-knot winds for probably 3 days in a row. We were about 35 miles southwest of the Pribilof Islands. It was no different than any other commute. You know, we were kind of in the trough, in the ditch. We were running back up to the northwest. And we took a wave on the starboard stern quarter. And I remember it specifically because we were having a meal at that time. It was 1,600 hours or close to 1,600 hours. And we were having a crew change, shift change. We took that wave, and I remember thinking about the cook being really mad, being really angry because it probably shifted everything in the galley and knocked food and guys chasing their plates. And I mean, this is not uncommon for that type of year. Next thing I know is I had one of my process foremen come upstairs. He said, there's smoke down in the factory. And I said, what do you mean there's smoke in the factory? He said, well, there's smoke. He said, there's a lot of smoke. And I'm looking at him, and I'm standing in the wheelhouse, and I'm watching the waves to the starboard side because they're kind of on our beam. And I'm looking at him, and I said, well, what type of smoke is it? And he said, well, it's like that smoke behind you. And I turned around, and what I saw brought me to my knees immediately was that this dark, black, heavy smoke corkscrewing out of the corner moldings of the fiddly, which was right next to the chart table on the bridge. And as I looked to the starboard side and to the port side, I realized that the smoke was coming up underneath the carpets, and it started to fill up into the bridge. The smoke was corkscrewing out of the holes in the corner joints on that steel bulkhead. And they were corkscrewing out, and it was a real thick black smoke. I said, go get the chief engineer, tell him we've got a problem, get him going, announce that there may be a fire down below. And I turned around and I turned on the fire alarm, continuous, locked it into position. The smoke was filling up that wheelhouse so fast that I could see immediately that this may be a little more serious than what I had anticipated. I realized there were still people that may be still sleeping in the upper quarters of the vessel. And I went down the hallways kicking doors open, screaming, you know, we've got a fire on board, everybody get to your mustering station, and hit every room. And by the time I got back to the wheelhouse was so black with smoke, I could not see light through the windows. And I had a series of windows, port to starboard, in the front of this vessel. I kept saying to myself, this really can't be happening. This cannot be happening.